It's about fucking time this movie came out. A year delay. And I've always been a fan of Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. I had a blast watching the film in 4DX. I also did watch in IMAX, but was so pissed off that Regal was doing something different this time with the collectible tickets, which is digital. I mean, what kind of fucking bullshit is this? I miss going to the theaters and getting the #1 tickets, and it's something that you can personally have in your collection. I mean, what the fuck am I supposed to do with a digital ticket? What the fuck is the point? Stupid. Fucking stupid. Worst part is that there's no longer any social gapping in the theaters. And it makes me cringe every time I hear someone call for sneeze. Only times that I ever get sick are in two places: attending a convention or sitting in a movie theater next to people who are so fucking disrespectful and come to the theater sick and infect others. I mean, stay the fuck home. You're not feeling well, stay the fuck home. Anytime that I'm sick, my ass is staying the fuck home because I don't want to get anybody else sick. It sucks being fucking sick, especially with fucking COVID going around. It ain't a situation to where, you get sick, you get a cold, you get over it. You could possibly fucking die from this shit. It's probably one of the main reasons as to why people prefer watching movies at home this time. Because you have to deal with disrespectful people who either come in sick, coughing, sneezing, and farting, are constantly using their fucking cell phones, or can't shut the fuck up while talking throughout the whole fucking movie. Or worse yet, when you're stuck between two fucking fat asses and you feel like a T-Rex with your arms crossed because they're hogging a fucking arm room. It's annoying as shit. It only happened to me once and it was fucking horrible. Anyway, back on point. I really love this film. It was definitely a love letter to Black Widow. The film takes place after the events of Civil War and prior to Avengers Infinity War. I really love the family chemistry between Natasha, Elena, Alexei, and Melina. I know that this film made some changes to the original source material, as well as another gender swap for a character that fans were really fucking pissed off about on social media, and I don't blame them, because it was a real disappointment for a lot of fans. I would also call it lazy writing and totally predictable. I mean, look, I've been trying to warn everyone that because of the pressure that Disney's getting from the LGBT community, expect a lot more of that shit. Especially with the woke and anti-government bullshit that's literally Captain America lit a fire today with fans as of recent. And all I have to say is that if you are so anti-fucking government like Zendaya's Michelle Jones, then please do us a fucking favor. You despise this country so much, get the fuck out. Go to another country where shit really hits a fucking fan, and I guarantee you that things will be completely different. Okay? And America, it's a country that's so amazing, yet those who hate it just refuse to fucking leave. I don't get it. I gotta say, I'm proud to be an American. And I agree that if you work your ass off to get to where you are, then you deserve it. And not simply have shit handed to you. I mean, look, I would rather have someone who's best experienced for the job, especially in the healthcare industry. Honest question here. Would you want someone who is simply given a job and barely has any experience to operate, or someone who has the best experience and knows what the fuck they're doing? I even mentioned over a year ago on how they might cast Susan Storm as a transgender character. And if you expect a cast of the Fantastic Four with all 4 white characters, just like they are in the comics, and respecting the original source material, that sure as fucking shit will never happen. Especially with John Watts directing. It's over. This is what we have to deal with now with Marvel Studios. And the video is still up on my Facebook page, titled Marvel Studios Considering Susan Storm as the First LGBT Transgender Superhero. It's not just for the Fantastic Four films either. They're doing the same fucking shit for the X-Men. It's over. It's done. You go woke, you go fucking broke. And I'm just so glad that Dean Cain and Kevin Sorbo came out today and told the truth. That we're just so sick and fucking tired of the woke and anti-American bullshit being forced upon us on social media. And here's the scary part, is that these kids and young teenagers, this generation, is drinking the fucking Kool-Aid. try sending these young motherfuckers to another country like Burma, where shit is really fucked up, and watch how fast they'll want to come home and cry their fucking asses off, okay? Anyone who has watched the John Rambo film will truly understand how fucked up things are in Burma, where women and children are being constantly raped, tortured, and killed. We don't have to deal with this shit in this country. That just does not fucking happen. I know that I'm way off topic from the movie review, but I just had to vent about it. And look, I really enjoyed this film, but I can't help but notice that this is definitely a film done by someone with barely any experience. I looked up her, credentials on IMDb, and I'm like, wow, I know Scarlett Johansson personally picked her, but come on. I know the main complaints were that the men were made to look dumb and adding a touch of feminism. I noticed that, and I noticed the complaints, as well as not focusing fully on Natasha's story, but giving a push to her replacement. Dumb fucking move. And that's the one thing that I said to myself, I hope they don't fucking do it. I hope they don't fucking do it, but they end up doing it anyway. Not that I'm complaining about the replacement, she's great. I loved her in the film, Elena. But still, what the fuck? Save that for another story. They do reveal as to what Loki meant by Dreykov's daughter in the film. I just feel as if if they focus more on her backstory, this film would be a lot better. And they never revealed anything from her past on how many, she has killed, really, as far as trying to get rid of all the red in her ledger, or why Hawkeye was sent in to kill her and what changed his mind. They never, told us that story. You only get to see on what happened with Dreykov's daughter, even though the film takes place in Budapest, which is pronounced Budapest. I don't know why the fuck they even did that. That was stupid. They never reveal anything that happened when it was mentioned in the first Avengers film. I honestly think if they focus more on why she was so burdened with what happened to her in the past, then we would feel more for, her character on her path to redemption. Instead, they try to focus more on all these other fucking characters, and as much as I love Red Guardian, it just seems like they put him there for comic relief. And we all need comic relief and humor, but still, it was just too much of it in the movie. Yelena was an awesome character, and it was hilarious when she makes one of Black Widow's pose. I really love that. And I really look forward to seeing her taking Natasha's place as the next Black Widow. But please, for the love of fucking God, can we do that in another film? Why do you have to do it in Black Widow's fucking film? Why? Waste of fucking time. I honestly feel it would have been way better off to have Black Widow as a Disney Plus show, so that they could focus more on her story. I mean, the character deserves it, instead of trying to focus on everyone's story within a 2-hour film. Yet the movie, let me remind you all, is titled Black Widow and not Black Widow and Family. The action scenes, I gotta say, is really top-notch, and I really started to like the character of Taskmaster at first, who was a badass, and kind of reminded me of the Winter Soldier, yet the villain turned out to be a real slow disappointment. I mean, if you check social media, there are so many Taskmaster fans that are really fucking royally pissed off about the movie version, and I don't blame them. I will get more into it in the spoiler section of this video, and the strange thing is that the villain does not talk at all, which is fucking weird. I mean, I know the Winter Soldier really didn't talk much either in Captain America the Winter Soldier. However, he did talk at some points, It wasn't, fucking weird. And there's a lot of memes going around about how the Marvel's Avengers game gave more justice to the villain than the film version, which I 100% agree. And I just thank God this film wasn't as bad as Captain Marvel, because that movie was fucking piece of shit. And it wasn't a bad Marvel film, but it wasn't a really good Marvel film either. Does it deserve to pass the $1 billion mark? Of course, I really hope it does, because Captain Marvel was fucking bullshit. Is it worth spending $29.99 on Disney Plus? Hell fucking no. Wait a few months. I mean, look, we waited a whole year for it, okay? And there's also an end credit scene, so, don't leave your seat. And I'm going to start heading into spoiler territory now. And if you've watched this film, let me know what you thought about it. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What you think of it? And the one thing that Kevin Feige has to stop fucking doing is giving these inexperienced directors the opportunity to do live action films. Knock it off. Because look, Marvel Studios started off with talented A-list actors and directors, and now it's just going fucking backwards and giving us mediocre Marvel films and TV shows. Because as of late, Phase 4 is seriously lacking, for the exception of The Falcon and The Winter Soldier. That's the only fucking show that I constantly rewatch the episodes. The others, I'm just like, I don't know. Not feeling it. It just doesn't feel like Marvel Studios material. It just feels as if the writing and directing is coming off people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. And that's just really bad. It's like as if Marvel Studios is giving up. And right now is not the time for it. DC is really going down fucking hill with their films. And Marvel is like the only films and TV shows supposed to be up there. And it's just, you know.
Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot.
Woo!